In this video, we're going to be talking about a sign we're going to do for Freeplay Arcade in Denton, Texas. Freeplay has all kinds of arcade games. Go back and relive your youth and play all those games, have some nice food while you're there. The sign that we're going to do is going to have what's called exposed neon, but it's not really exposed, it's actually covered. But you can see the neon, which not a lot of signs have anymore. Everybody tends to go LED, so this is going to make for a really unique, cool looking sign.
Every day we look at signs. Some are beautiful, others not so much. For a business, any business, a good sign is crucial. So where does a good sign come from? Who creates these tantalizing works of art? In the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, it's done right here by the people at Signs Manufacturing, the people we call the Sign Dawgs.
I'm Paul Richards. I'm the bar manager of Freeplay Denton. I do all the beer ordering, liquor ordering, and scheduling and all that fun stuff. Freeplay is a retro arcade that is free to play. All the games are set to free play, hence the name. You walk in, it's $12 per person, and that gets you a fancy wristband, which allows you to go in and out at your leisure. And just have to walk up, hit start, and play one of our great classic games.
And the real thing is, when you go to an arcade and you already know what your whole game expense is going to be, spend a lot more money at the bar, at the restaurant. So
right, sure.
Then we have a absolute world-class beer lineup here. Probably 100, 150 beers available, carefully sourced. Our cocktail program has been nominated nationally now. We've really grown up with cocktails in the last couple of years. We were really known for beer, but our cocktail program has made so many good steps. And then we have actually good food, which as an arcade with actually good food, it's really easy to sell because that's pretty much every review. It's either surprisingly good food or actually really good kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been great.
So how about maintenance on the machine?
It's brutal, absolutely brutal. Yeah, we have an in-house tech team. We have 10 of the absolute best techs in the world currently employed from us, working full time.
Because I know when they need it work.
Well, when you go back there, we've got about, I don't know if there's 30 or 28 pinball tables back there. Those pinball tables break almost every day.
Oh, okay.
And it's, I would probably say half or more than half of our tech work goes just into those pinball tables.
Well, it's good to have in-house techs then to work on it.
Well, and then the biggest thing is we have warehouses. We have 30,000 square feet of warehouse space filled with more than 1,000 games that are not anywhere on any of our locations for parts or to do rotation, so that there's always something new when you come to the location, that kind of stuff. But yeah, the tech work is brutal.
So how do you make a sign without making a sign? Well, you can take a piece of metal and then you can put a bunch of neon on it, and the neon can spell out your letters. And that will give you a really bright look that actually is visible during the day, even in some cases. And that's pretty cool. The problem, of course, is if you've got really bright sunlight or something that's coming on it, then you won't be able to see the glow of the neon over the glow of the really bright sun. And so as a consequence, if we're gonna do that, I'd recommend putting some vinyl behind it so that that will be visible anyway. So that's what we're doing for Freeplay. They're in an area of Denton that's kind of an artsy type area, and there's neon everywhere, all around it. How many of these locations do you have?
All right, so we had 4 before the pandemic. One in Richardson, Arlington, Fort Worth, and then one up in Denton. We closed our Denton one. It was really small, and we couldn't really negotiate a good workout with the landlord. So we bought a huge building on the square, and we're about to open our Denton location again, just down the street, but in a much better location, huge. Right. On the square, it's gonna be really cool. We started out with a passion for these old games. And what we found is if you start marrying them with just anything that's cool, it's what really gets the vibe going.
Hey, look, Space Invaders.
Yeah, original.
Yeah, that there was kind of hard to play back in the day when you was drunk.
Well, it's really, really cool because of the way it gets faster, right? Because it literally has nothing controlling its speed except trying to draw as much as it can. And so as you kill enemies, it gets faster just because the processor has more bandwidth to keep going. And so it gets faster and faster and faster as you beat it without without necessarily being by design, but it gets really, really hard at the very end when they start going really fast.
Well, if you're applying vinyl in the field, if it's a first surface, just letters cut out or something, it's not that big a deal because you're dealing with a lot less surface area. But if you're applying a complete overlay on a face, if you can get the face pulled out and put inside indoors somewhere to get it out of the weather, it's a lot easier, but it still requires at least 2 men on the job site there to actually get it laid out, taped in place, clean the plastic down, wet the plastic down, wet the vinyl down, so you can at least smooth it out once it applies if you get a wrinkle in it. And then you just got to apply it down and squeeze the heck out of it and work all the bubbles and moisture and water out.
What made you go, hey, you know, I have a great way to make a living?
Well, so I was a lawyer. I was practicing downtown Dallas, but I wasn't playing video games anymore, and that had been a big part of my life for my whole life, because I was like, you know, an 80s, 90s kid. And then after law school, I wasn't touching them at all. I wasn't playing any video games whatsoever, and it went to, I was like, how do I get video games back in my life? So I started looking into arcades, and there were no arcades around. Like, they weren't open anymore. But I remembered the cool thing about arcades is you can pick them up, experience the whole game, and be done 5-10 minutes later at most. So I started searching Craigslist to buy an arcade game. Found one and plugged it in. It kind of worked. It needed some work, so I learned how to fix it up a little bit. And I just had this arcade sitting in my garage, and I loved playing it, messing around with it. But the biggest thing that happened is that I'd have all my, you know, lawyer friends come over, and they'd see this arcade game in my garage and immediately turn into just like little kids. And they would just be like, I want to play it. How does it work? I want to learn about it. And we'd all sit around drinking a couple beers, playing this game that was not very good at all, and having a great time. And it was some sort of social gaming aspect thing that was happening, and it just clicked in my head. And in the meantime, I got really addicted to buying arcade games. And so I just started buying without any plans. And so eventually I had 100 games sitting in different storage lockers around town. Pretty big expense every month to pay for all these storage lockers. And I had to like put up or shut up, do something with them. And so I pitched an arcade to my business partner and brother-in-law, Richard. And I said, dude, we should open up an arcade. I've got all this stuff, let's do it. And shockingly enough, he was like, okay, that sounds cool. Why don't we try it? And so we did. We built our Richardson one from the ground up with our own hands, did the, you know, all of the hard work in there, and opened it up and assumed that no one would ever come and that I would at least have tried. And that first day, there was a line out the door the whole day. We probably own more arcade games, retro arcade games, than any other entity in the entire world. Because we're probably over 2,000 or 3,000 at this point.
Interesting sign because it's neon, so it requires 2 1-inch holes drilled on each letter. And then each letter jumps together with only the transformer leads going back to the power supply box, which has a transformer in it. I believe there's 2 transformers on the word Freeplay. So you got 4 transformer leads going back, all the other jumpers through the wall actually jump back around, go into the letter next to it, so the GPO wire jumps from glass to glass. Because neon wires in a circuit just like lamps on a ballast. On the back wall, it was just a metal panel with vinyl on it. And they just used Tapcon screws in the corners there to put it onto the wall.
You mind if we walk through and look?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I want to
cool.
see what else you got in here, man. There's a lot of cool stuff.
Hey, Robert.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a semi-truck you could drive off a cliff.
What if I don't want to take the bridge? Oh my Lord! I'm flying! Yeah, with a minigun.
This is really, really cool. Cuber. I used to play this when I was a kid.
Hey, look, there's another asteroids.
I told you, Robert, there's medicine for that.
No?
Okay.
Damn!
Yeah, you're great.
I suck at that one, don't I?
All right, I'll try it. Hey, check that out, right up to, uh-oh. I got you beat, bud. You rang.
I think that was from the Addams Family, dude.
Holy cow, that's a great sign, man. No, what's really cool though is like with how big that sign is out front and that purple glow kind of like almost shines onto the courthouse lawn, and it's pretty radical. And it just like, I don't know, pink is always fun, and it stands out a lot and really gives that retro vibe. And y'all nailed the color on that. The reason for neon is it just really gives that 80s, 90s vibe. You know, kind of the Outrun or Tron, you know, you kind of get that like pop in color, and it just really ties the place together. We picked Signs Manufacturing just because we've seen some of y'all's work, we've had it done at other locations, and they'll just do a good job. Freeplay Denton will probably be open about mid-December. It is our lookabout date, but you know, stuff always happens and pushes it back.
On the next slice of Sign Dawgs, we go to Fate, Texas, where the new Pizza Factory Express is opening. Spoiler alert, awesome pizza.
Oh, I'm good. Release aggressive!